Welcome, I'm Sherry Damaris, and I'm with Virginia Harper today. Ginny has been on my previous episodes before on Zoom, and I'm really excited to have her live in the studio for the first time. Ginny is not only a great friend, but she's also a wonderful macrobiotic teacher, and she has gone through a whole lifetime experience of dealing with lots of clients who have had digestive disorders. She herself has experienced Chrones disease, and after her experience of trying to heal Chrones in many different ways and finding that macrobiotics really worked for her, she wrote a book on healing Chrones disease. And since that time, she has traveled throughout the world teaching people how to heal all kinds of digestive disorders. She's worked at Shaw Spa. She has a center in Nashville, Tennessee. And she was also the recipient this year of the Michio and Aveline Kushi Award for being such an inspiring teacher. So welcome, Ginny.
Thank you. It's fun to be here live.
I know, it's so nice to have her. Today you're going to show us a really simple dish that you use all the time for people with all kinds of digestive disorders.
Yes.
Specifically Crohn's.
Yes.
It's a very healing dish.
Yeah.
So if you're in your kitchens and you're paying attention and you find some of these ingredients maybe online, if you can't find them in your health food store, you can try them and see if you feel better after you take them, right?
Yes. This dish is actually healing, like you said, for many things. I was born in Chile, and it was a porridge that my grandmother would make to soothe our bellies when we were upset. And they would use all kinds, but mainly rice. And when I was suffering 7 years with Crohn's disease and not finding any answers, I came across the macrobiotic concept. It made total sense to me, and I said, I have to try it. And one of the healing dishes was this creamed rice. And I find that when I begin this special recipe with people who are flared up or sensitive, having a hard time digesting, having a hard time absorbing, this is magical. And it's because of the potency of the rice. Rice is very healing for the gut. It builds our good bacteria. It gives the diversity of bacteria. When you eat whole grains and exchange and vary whole grains, you get diversity of the good bacteria. And we need that because right now, with all that diversity of viruses going on and pathogens, we need those bacteria to be very active. And
so I've heard that if you eat sauerkraut or pickles, it feeds off the whole grains.
Yes.
So a prebiotic and a probiotic actually heal the gut.
Yeah, that's a winning combination, it really is. And so you start off with short grain brown rice. It's the best kind to get. And in this dish, you don't have to soak it. If you're going to eat brown rice as a meal, then it's always good to pre-soak it and then throw away the soaking water. But just to even wash it, it's good to rinse it off three to 4 times, because you want the residue, the dust in the rice to be cleared off. Once you have it, then you add the proportions, which is 1 cup of brown rice to 5 cups of water. And the reason you do that is because you make it more digestible this way. Just like pre-soaking it makes it digestible. I run across many people who come do my program to get relief, and they say, I can't eat brown rice, or I don't like it, or I can't eat it. And this is such a mild and gentle and sweet way to eat it, fixed this way, that everybody ends up loving it. But brown rice, in Chinese medicine, we know that brown rice is a gut healer. And so to make this digestion friendly, like I said, it's a perfect formula. So once you add the proportions correctly, then you put it on the burner. You bring it to a boil first. Once it comes to a boil, you will have some foam gather at the top. You want to skim that off as much as you can. You won't get it all off, but you want to skim it off as much as you can. And that has starches and residue and sugars that you don't want left in there, because that creates a lot of disturbance, digestive disturbance, gassiness, bloatness. And so you remove that. Then you put a pinch of salt in, and then you cover it. Oh, the kombu, sorry. Yeah. So the kombu, instead of the salt, is a good mineral agent. You need a mineral to be able to digest grains. And kombu is a wonderful seaweed that will do that. It's an easy seaweed to cook with because it keeps its hardiness and it's very strong. So all you want to do is rinse it and then put it in your
Sort of
dish.
like a bay leaf, right?
Yes, yes. It does help the digestive process. Then you put the top in the pressure cooker. If you don't have a pressure cooker, you can use a regular pot. Just bring it to the boil the same way, skim the foam, put your kombu in there, cover it, and then you turn it to medium-low. When you turn it to medium-low in a pressure cooker, it still should be holding the pressure. In the pot, you'll notice that it will still be boiling nicely. In the pot, you want to cook it 2 hours. In the pressure cooker, you want to cook in an hour. And that should be sufficient. What I found is that this really settles the digestive. When I was at my sickest with the Chrones flare-up, I could not absorb. I could not hold food in. It would not stay in me. And I found that this was my base dish. And I started adding things to it as I went, and my body was able to absorb and adjust to squashes and carrots, and I started slowly adding the other things in.
Yeah, what they call it is kanji, right?
Kanji, yes.
And so many, if you go to many countries around the world, they either have white or brown kanji.
Yes.
So that's sort of like the cereal base that all, indigenous civilizations use to create health.
Yes. And you can,
because of grains,
right?
So healing.
Yeah, the grain as the base. There's a lot of misunderstanding, I think, about grains. There's the movement of don't eat grains, too much starch, too much carbohydrates, but that's our fuel. That's really our fuel. And so, cooked properly, eaten properly, they can enhance your health quicker than almost anything. And by eating them properly, of course, I'm talking about chewing. Chewing. This makes the digestive friendly, but then you have to do your part with the chewing. And this is where it all begins, with the saliva, increase in enzyme action that helps digest carbohydrates. So it begins here. It's a wonderful, soothing dish.
And after break, we're going to show you what it looks like when it comes out and how to make it more creamy. In the meantime, Ginny, tell us a little bit about your journey through Crohn's disease. How did you manage to heal your Crohn's disease?
Yeah, well, I was 7 years, like I said, in and out of hospitals and taking drugs to settle inflammation that would work for a little while. Then the stronger drugs were just coming out in the scene, the biologics, what did not make sense to me because they tear down, they stop your immune system. And I didn't want that. I needed to work with my immune system, plus the pages and pages of side effects those drugs create. When they first came out and people started coming to me, the doctors would give them a packet for them to read through all the side effects and sign before they would do the drugs. Now they just hand them out, which is too bad. But I wanted to avoid that. For me, it was the most natural way, gentle way. And so this made sense, the food made sense. I started pretty quickly, and within the first week, I I noticed a difference. My food was staying, my stomach wasn't hurting, I was beginning to absorb. And so it made a difference almost immediately.
Nice.
And then it was a no-brainer to stick to it. Within a year, I was Crohn's free, which showed up.
And when you say stay to it, you mean the macrobiotic diet?
Yes, the whole lifestyle, because it becomes more than a diet, it becomes a lifestyle. Once you get your parameters of what makes you well in the whole foods world, then that's what you stick with, of course, it makes sense. So that's what I dedicated myself to, and within a year I was showing a clear colonoscopy.
In your book, it's amazing. You have these photographs in the beginning of what you used to look like, and then the transition of how even your physical appearance changed.
Everything changes. Your mental attitude, everything changes. The book is called Controlling Crohn's Disease the Natural Way, and I'm updating it now, in the middle of updating it, because after 35 years of teaching, you learn so much more. And so I'm excited to finish that one and get it updated.
Nice. So tell us, I know that you work with even young children who have Crohn's and digestive disorders. What have you been seeing, with their conditions when they start on the macrobiotic diet? And do you see an immediate improvement, or does it take a longer period of time?
Children, of course, are so sensitive that it's actually the effects are quicker. We all benefit from changing our blood quality and increasing our microbiome. We almost feel it immediately, like I did within that first week. With children, it's the same way. 2 or 3 days, and you can see, sometimes 24 hours, depending on what's ailing them. But and children are smart, I get parents that say they're finicky, they're not going to eat that, they don't like rice, but if they're at an age of understanding it all, they know they're hurting and something's not right. And for you to tell them this is going to make you feel better, that's a start. And then you just adjust it to their taste. So that's what I do a lot, is I take children taste buds, sometimes adults too, and say, what are your tastes, sweet, savory, what is it? And then we can take the cream rice and adjust it. The important thing is for them to get the food in, and this is what I tell parents all the time, to take the food and find their favorites and adjust them to better quality.
That's so beautiful. When we come back from commercial break, we're going to show you what the rice cream looks like and explain how you take it from the pot into the bowl, and also learn from Ginny many more stories about her patients and how she's helping them along with healing Crohn's disease.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
If you're in pain, frustrated, trying your best to remain hopeful in an environment that tells you that your life is one of pills and surgery and side effects, you're not alone. My program compiles what I've seen to be the most revealing and strengthening healing tools that you can use today to take charge of your own healing and get started on your own path back to vibrant health and beyond.
Welcome back to Macro Magic. I'm Sherry Damaris, and I'm with Ginny Harper, and we're talking about Crohn's disease, her journey through healing Crohn's disease herself, and then her beautiful book that she's written about how to heal Crohn's disease. And we just saw your commercial during break.
Yeah.
And you want to mention the name of your company?
Yeah,
the name
website. You Can Heal You. And I chose that name because it meant so much to me to be able to be proactive in my own health. You know, we spend time going to all these experts that we need information, but then it is up to us how we're going to take that information and how are we going to be proactive in it. Yeah. So you can heal you because everybody has the potential to do so. So
nice.
Yeah.
And we supposedly finished cooking the rice during commercial break, a short break. And Ginny's just going to explain how you get the cooked rice in the 5 cups of water, 1 cup of rice, into this beautiful cream, rice cream, that she serves people at her center.
And so, in TV land here, we have cooked up the rice. It's creamy, so it's easy to work with. And I would suggest that you do not let it cool down, that it needs to be warm, because it'll be easier to go through the food mill that way. And just start scooping it into the food mill. This is called a Foley food mill. You can find them around town, and they're easy to use. Sometimes they come with different sizes of the mesh, and so sometimes I do use that depending on the person, how much we need into mill. And then you just start scooping it into here.
I think people know these. Your grandmother might have used one for applesauce.
Yes, for applesauce is what they were used a lot for. And you just mill it through, and then I'll take my spoon and scoop it, the residue out of here. What's left in here is the stronger fiber. Rice has 2 kinds of fiber, insoluble and soluble fiber. And so when you're doing things to be digestion friendly, you break it down to the insoluble fiber in order for it to go through the digestive tract easier. And so what's left here, I don't throw away. I'll put this with beans or add it to a soup dish. It just makes it thicker. I'll reuse this now. At first you won't, because you're concentrating on eating this part to soothe your intestines. But you can give that to the rest of your family or somebody else.
And what's nice is this is not, you're taking the hard and digestible part off, but you're not making white rice porridge.
Exactly, yeah.
So for viewers, if you're confused about where to find brown rice, we just had Blue Moon Acres in our Spirit of Rice film documentary in New Jersey, and they grow freshly organic, all different kinds of brown rice, medium, long grain, short grain. Or you can use Lundberg, which is easy to find in your health food stores. And there's some other brands that you can find online, but make sure it's organic. And make sure it's brown.
And I love the documentary you're working on, because I just totally connected with it, because rice was such a healer for me and continues to be. Once you get the cream rice, look how beautiful that is. It's making my mouth water now. And
it's a nice breakfast.
Yes. With digestion, you want to use a pickle to help the rice or any grain digest better, as you mentioned earlier. So a good one is the umeboshi plum. The umeboshi plum is a pickled, traditionally pickled plum. Japanese plums sometimes they're referred to, and you can mix it in, chop it in, but to eat it with a side of rice, it really cuts down on acidity and allows the rice to digest effectively. Very alkalizing the whole dish. This whole dish is very alkalizing, and as we know, inflammation comes from over acidity and getting that out of balance. And so this is, and then the chewing alkalizes also, so you're putting a powerhouse of alkalizing ingredients into your body right off, and that makes the difference. So sometimes we'll use like for children especially, a sweetener like brown rice syrup is a good one to get them to eat it. With parents, I try to let them know it's important to get the food in them, because that's what's going to change the acidity level, that's what's going to change the cellular value. And so if you need to doctor this up a little bit, let's do it, but they're getting the quality of that in there. With adults, you can reason better with them and say, you just have to eat this.
Just eat it.
Just eat it. But still to this day, I'll make a batch. It's so soothing. I'll do it as a snack.
Yeah, in fact, I had it just the other day, just as a breakfast cereal.
Yes.
Because sometimes you feel run down
Yes.
and tired, and
Yeah.
I teach it, to my students on Zoom cooking classes.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention is I know that if you thin it out, it's a great, almost like natural insure
Yeah.
for people who are dying
Yes.
and lose their appetite, or infants,
Yeah.
like almost like after mother's milk.
Yes.
So it's very, very versatile.
It's very versatile. You can add more ingredients in there to make it harder if you need to. But that is true. You can prepare in many different ways. It's great for nursing mothers. It's great for after birth. It's great for after surgery. Many times I've made a batch of this for somebody that is coming out of surgery and they have to be careful. They give you so many drugs from anti-nausea after surgery, when if you just take things to alkalize yourself, you can settle that down without the extra medicine. So
Nice to
that's
know.
what it's about.
So in your teachings, I know you have your center. What types of services are you now offering people? Because I know that you're moving into mobile meals. You're doing some residential work with people coming to your house,
Yes.
and you working one-to-one.
Yes, one of my key programs was the residential, where I do a 10-day stay and we live the lifestyle. And the first few days is getting you through your pain, through the inflammation, settling that down. Because then you can open up and pay attention, right? And then the rest of the time is teaching you how to be in the kitchen and feel confident when you go home you can carry this out. That's a very effective program. It's 24/7, because a lot of the symptoms, digestive systems, either are at night late, through the night, or early morning. And so when you're there, I'm doing remedies for those times too. That's one of the more effective programs. I do all kinds of levels of consultations. Of course, I had to shut down during COVID, so I'm slowly opening that back up again. And then the other is, of course, outpatient consulting and coaching. So you get followed, so I could keep tabs on your program so we can stay ahead of any inflammation. With these digestive issues, the key is to monitor and manage inflammation, because once inflammation hits, then all the symptoms begin. And so that's the main thing I teach, is what's going on here that we need to keep inflammation down. Could be physical, emotional, spiritual. It could be lack of exercise, lack of breathing correctly. So we bring it all in. The other one is a mobile meal she mentioned, macromobilemealsclub.com. And we have it going on in the Nashville area, and twice a week we provide meals for people delivered to their home. And we're
You might be starting that up in
Yes,
in
we're
the New
looking.
York City area.
Yes, we're looking
North
at
Jersey.
the tri-state area here and trying to put that together. It's really effective because it gives people a chance to see what the food looks like, what the combination of food should be. We're talking about quality, but we're also talking about orderly eating and combination eating. That makes a difference. And that's when you get those meals, you get a good view of, oh, this is the way it's supposed to
How
look.
to eat day to day.
Yes,
That's really
yes,
important.
and gives people a break too. And if they're starting on the program, it also enhances their program because they'll be cooking at home and they'll get these meals on the side. So, I
So
know.
within 28 days, if a patient comes to you with Crohn's disease or digestive, how soon do you see improvement?
You see it in the first few days. You really do, because we focus in exactly on what the symptoms are. When somebody walks through my door, the first thing I do is the interview and see when they're flaring up, how they're flaring up, all that, and their food that they're eating at that moment. And then I just focus in on that and adjust that. And then the rest of the 10 days, I'm just adjusting to make it more their health code for themselves.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we have to wrap up, Ginny. It was so nice having you live on the
Yes.
show finally. And I know many people who are suffering from digestive disorders such as Crohn's and colitis and even colon cancer can contact you. Again, you want to mention how can they reach you and see your beautiful website and get in touch and get some of these great services.
Thank you. Yes, very simple. Virginia at youcanhealyou.com, and you spell it all out just like you saw on the commercial. That would be the most efficient and easy way to get in touch with me.
Great. Well, thank you again.
It's been a pleasure.
It's so
been
much fun having you. And I hope that you come back and share some more stories, because I
Sure.
think your work, especially with children, is so significant at
Yes.
this time.
Yes,
and
very
important.
needed. Yeah.
And thank you everyone for joining. I'm Sherry Damaris with Macro Magic, and we'll see you next time on our next episode of Macro Magic.